to our left from 7 to 1 is acid. 7 is neutral. Where's the line? Right hand. Okay, now we're going to use that. Because we're wise. We don't need no blackboard. Our brain could penetrate, right? Okay, we remember that 7 to our right to 14 is alkali. 7 down to 1 is acid. If a substance is acid, it's always below 7. Below 7. As a steam engineer, I knew that. 6.9 is always acid. But it's only 1 point acid, right? And as it goes to 1, it becomes more acid and more acid and more acid. And depending on the degree of acidity will determine what scale it will be on, right? So we find that cyanide and arsenide, they are like 2. 1.5 grain of arsenide would kill you right now, isn't it? But if the substance is on above 7, is it good for you? Yes. Yes. Now, when you milk a cow, this is a hydrogen ion concentration test, they call it. Hydrogen ion. To break it down, pH, depending on its structure, is acid state. If the substance is alkali, if you milk a cow, the cow is 5.2 on the hydrogen scale, which means it would erode your cells, and that milk you're giving your baby, that bottle, is killing your baby with fever and nose running. Right. But if you milk a goat, the milk is 9.8, which is what? Alkali, which means that God made it. God doesn't make anything that hurts you, right? I mean, if he made something to hurt you, he wouldn't be God. If you make a tiger, the milk is alkali. Over here. If you make a lion, the milk is alkali. If you make a woman, it's alkali. But if you make a cow, that's how you know. You could take a carrot and juice it and give it the litmus test. It's way over here on the acid side. But the health people claim it is. Well, a man is in the door right now named Lorenzo Pace. Lorenzo Pace came to see me when I was on Monroe Street. And he said, hey, look, man, I want to drink juice. And I got all this mucus. I'm a vegetarian. What's going on here, Sebi? I said, Lorenzo, what kind of juice you drink? And he said, carrots, baby, carrots. Because the poor man was told by these nutritionists in Harlem that he should drink carrot juice. Mucus was coming out of Lorenzo like he never said. I said, stop it. There he is now, without the mucus. Can't go back and drink carrot juice. Yes, sir.
What's the pH of blood?
The pH of blood depends on the state of your body. But the pH of blood should always be no less than 10. That's right. Because the cells can't do nothing with something acid just by the word acid. Acid means what? To eat away on you. What you want that for? Yes, ma'am. Yes, the sister.
I'm doing calamine and psyllium husk. Is that good for you? Bad?
Psyllium husk. And what else you said? That's coming out of a volcano. They both are very harmful. Don't even deal that. Remember, to heal the body, maybe this is the way I should, this lecture just begin to get good, right? To heal the body, we want to give it things that it is already composed of. And the body definitely is an alkali state. The body itself is alkali. And it is composed of what? Carbon base. Psyllium seed. Psyllium seed is acid, isn't it? It was made. You see? Anything that was made in a laboratory must necessarily be acid. Because men cannot titrate. Titration, that's the word. He cannot, in other words, may I have that umbrella? Nature, since creation, made things the way they should be. Men come and found them that way. We found them already made for us to indulge in, right? But what man does, you say, well, I can see if I take a soursop and a coconut and put them together, I'm going to get coleslaw. Right? But to bring these two things together that was not originally put together by nature, you have to use a binder. That's the trick. For them to come together and unite, because they were not supposed to unite. But man takes and use a binder, which is a chemical, and put them together. That's a violation. The other is that it is half coconut and half soursop. Is there anything in nature that's half anything?
No.
Thank you. I think that that's a beautiful description, isn't it?
Yes.
Shall we use that one? You are a scientist. Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Sebi.
Yes, sir.
Detoxify body. Cleanse it. 1 day, 1 year, 2 years.
Well, this lady, I did not compete answering her question. I'm glad that you asked the question. It depends. It depends on the state of toxicity. It depends how much weight. It depends how much fluid. It depends on the state of your body. You come back and tell me, when you begin to take this stuff, you come back and say, hey, man, I feel good. I feel very good. Or you can come back and say, I feel okay, but then I know I have some work to do. It's simple. It's very easy. You know more than me. So you know.
Yes. I have abnormal tissue in the jawbone. And what it's doing is, it's affecting the nerves, the blood vessels.
Abnormal tissue in the jawbone she had. What caused that? Abnormal tissue. What causes anything to become abnormal in the body?
Acid.
Acid. You know it.
That is also bothering you too.
No, that was not also bothering you. That was what it was all the time.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So we deacidify your body, right? Let me see, Washington, D.C. What is his name? Little short man. Forgot his name. When he opened his jaw, he had to put it back in. Why? Because there was erosion in the calcium cells. Right? So what do? What's causing the erosion? The only thing that eats your body up is what? So what is disease? Yes, brother. Who was it? Who's next? Well, look at Saya. Saya's in town. Hi, Saya. Saya's a beautiful little girl. You ought to know about Saya. Yes, sir.
Please tell us, Doctor, what the problem or the benefit of soybeans, tofu, soy milk, TBP.
There's a young man that I don't see here today. His name is Jay. I didn't do his research. Jay did. Jay is a member of Usha. Jay put things in a way that I hope that you would get this paper that he wrote on tofu. Tofu, he said, the food of what, he said? No, the food of who? What did Jay said? The food of champions. He said, early in the 19th century, George Washington Carver found that soybean had a very good milk, consistent to make plastics. It was George Washington Carver that invented plastics. He made it from what? The milk of the soybean. Where you mean to tell me, and Jay said in the paper, you ought to read this paper. We will make this paper available to you next time we come together, because we will come together again, because there's so much to talk about. He said, if early in the 19th century, George Washington Carver used soybean to make plastics, why is it that automatically in the 19th century, it has become our food? How could that be? Your food from the same source as plastics? Does that make sense?
No.
Don't you know that to make plastics, you have to ingest, or you have to use a substance that contains silica, inorganic silica. Soybean is artificial. Soybean was made by the Jesuit priests. And I'm glad that this young man asked that question. Because look at this now. What does Ralph Nader do when a Caucasian or the Caucasian companies or some individual produce, no, he's a Caucasian too, Ralph Nader, right? What does he do when he finds something on the market that is no good? He what? He said expose. Is that what he should do? He should do that, right? But what happened to the Bahamian diet that is based with soybean? What do we do now? Now what do we do about it?
They get no weight loss.
Now they're going to come out the woodwork, isn't it? Are we going to attack Brother Dick Gregory for that? He doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know, right? So if he didn't know, why did he bring it?
He didn't know about the pastor. So we would educate.
That's right. The sister is right. We have to educate Dick because he's our brother. And we're not going to condemn Dick because the information that Dick had in his head came from who?
Okay.
It has to have come from the Caucasians. It didn't come from the brothers and the sisters in Africa because they did not eat no soybean. So we have to sit with him and say, hey Dick, you know, like, enough is enough, you know, man. Well, you can't have this. Last question. Or at least two more. Yes.
I would like to know if colonic irrigation is necessary.
Colonic irrigation is extremely unhealthy because it pushes water against your sikkim. And at the point where, I wish I had a blackboard, I'll tell you what we do, I'll explain it now. But when we come back again, I'm going to make sure that the family of food shall have a blackboard here. I will show you. When this is your ascending colon, this is your ascending colon right here. This is your transverse colon. This is your descending colon. Things goes across very easy and down very easy, but to climb up, to crawl up is very difficult. Now I'm going to push water up here, down, across, down. Now there's no way out here. So aren't you having to impact things down here with that water 15 pounds per square inch pressure? Not only that, the obstruction is not in the colon. It's in the small intestines because the valve, the sikkim valve, only pushes things out. It doesn't admit things in because that would be anatoxemia. So as this valve clogs, so the small intestines, and there goes your stomach. So when you get your colonics, yeah, you see some feces out of it, but the obstruction is in the small intestines. And since this valve does not allow any water to go in, how are we going to clean the small intestines now? Where the putrefaction really sits. And not only that, when you take water and put it in a machine and then push that up someone's colon, isn't there life forms in this water already? And they will seed inside of you? Because if you had taken this water through your mouth and it had the life form, which it does, it would die in the mucous membrane or in the hydrochloric acid in the stomach. But now you bypass that because some German invented colonics. And some black person told us that because the Germans did it, it must be right. Ooh. Ooh. Yes, ma'am. Pantothenic acid. Will it be below or above 7, fellas? She said it right. Pantothenic what? Yes, ma'am.
If the elements that we require in food are tropical foods, is that to say that our diet should be mostly tropical foods? And if so, would that necessitate us living in the tropical climate, or would that necessitate us eating a lot of imported food?
You see? You see what the sister just asked? It's the whole lecture.
No,
necessitate, since we are tropical, that the food would come from the tropics, or that we would have to live in the tropical region. What happened when you put a gorilla in Alaska? And what do you think we are doing gradually? Our skin gets wrinkled fast. We're dying. And what she also said, does that mean also that we're supposed to get our food from the tropics? But I'll tell you what, I was a merchant seaman. I know about boats. I have a brother who owns boats in Honduras now. A boat only costs about $70,000 to come from Honduras to Miami. So with that dollar, we can go along. We could buy 5 boats. We hold it. We could also get all kind of land in Honduras. And they were glad to have you grow stuff over there and build on your boats organically to you. Tropical fruits. Yes, sister, you're right. You asked the question of the evening. That's why we use the herbs that come from the tropics. They contain electricity, high over and above anything from the temperate region. That's why everybody feels so good with the Maya. Our compounds are electrical. Food is electrical. You are electrical. I had the opportunity to receive electricity through my pores in Honduras as a very young boy, 16 years of age. I'm walking across Honduras. And this Indian named Inez, that really knew the forest. He was my age, but he knew more about it than I did. He said, look, if we go across these mountains, it's going to cost a lot of labor going up and down, up and down, up and down. He said, look, you see this shoulder? They call it cordillera. We're going to climb up one mountain and walk across all the others from the top, across. Just one spot we had to come down, go right back up 10,000 feet. We were in the clouds. We were inside the clouds. And at one point, I was laughing and running. All 3 of us young fellas, 16 years of age, running in this cloud. Running, walking 3 days, sleeping only 1 day. But we had energy. And you know, it was until I became a healer that I saw why that Indian asked us to walk in the clouds. If food is electrical, and life is electrical, where do you get the highest source of electricity on the planet from, naturally? From the clouds. The cloud produces more lightning on you, knock a building down. Well, if from those clouds come electricity and we are submerged in it, what do you think is happening to us? No stuff. Yes, ma'am.
What in the body would they reject for fruits and vegetables?
The only thing that would allow you to reject any substance in your body would be acid. I have many people to come to me with that. Dr. Sebi, I can't even hold water down. And they were right. They could not hold water. They drink water, they puke it up. They had to. Why? A bed of acid in their stomach. Mucus. This aggravates it. Clean the mucus out, you drink tons of it, you eat anything then. Yes, sir.
Yes, 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
First of all, does that mean that citrus and citrus fruits and all are not beneficial to the body?
They are not as acid as starch. You see, in the acid stuff, something that was made by this man, some are more and some are less. Citrus is acid. I'm not going to sit here and deny that, because the natural orange is alkali, and I think Lori had a chance to see one in Honduras, natural orange. They call it civil orange. Any of you from the Caribbean know about civil orange? Yes, she knows, he knows, so you know. That's an orange that cures you. You could take civil orange and put it on your head, and mucus comes out of your nose that you never imagined.
Civil orange.
You see?
Not as sweet as the one.
So what I see we need to do, like the brothers are asking about things that come from the tropics that they do not know about, why don't we have an expedition ourselves? Because the Usha family goes to Honduras every year. The sister of Usha is now going to Mexico and to Chile. Should we do research to find the best herbs for you, that you could be healed quicker and faster and cheaper? So why can't we all as a family come together and make this thing a family thing? That instead of you asking those questions, you would know. You would know. Yes, sir.
Yes, when you're dealing with, someone who is obviously in ill health, what system or method of diagnosis do you use to determine the correct manner of rejuvenating this person?
Do we need to diagnose?
No.
Why?
We claim those things.
I never diagnosed anyone. I wouldn't even know how to do that. When you walk in my place and your ankles are swollen and you're hurting, I know it's acid. When the government of Uganda came to me and asked me to come and cure AIDS, I know what I have to do. Remove acid from the system. When the woman walked in with asthma and couldn't breathe, I know it was mucus acid. When the man came with gout, I knew it was acid. And incidentally, about gout, I always find that men, I know I didn't have gout, but I was impotent. I had diabetes. But I find that every male that has gout is impotent. Because the level of acidity has also invaded the prostate gland. And here comes, this is my last one. I just can't, I have to go on. But Flores Archies from Puerto Rico came to me and he had gout. He said, could you cure my gout? I said, sure. But then came a woman named Miss Sylvester. And she was wearing a cane. She had a cane, you know? And then came another one named Miss Margaret Allen. She was shaking. And she touched me. She said, oh, you have a beard, Dr. Sebi. Yes, I have a beard. She was blind. Delirium tremens. She was shaking, right? And high blood pressure, cellulite. So when they were leaving, they all had the same bottles. But the Puerto Rican took it upon himself to ask me about it. And he was right. He said, Dr. Sebi, I think you're making an obvious mistake. I said, why is that? He said, because I don't have diabetes. I don't have arthritis like Miss Sylvester. I'm not blind like Miss Allen. And you give up the same medicine. I have gout. So this has got to be out. I said, from a European perspective it is. But from a black one, very much consistent. I said, but instead of me arguing with you, this is what I'm going to do. Take this stuff. If it doesn't work, they give you money back in 2 weeks. He left. Everybody left. When he came back 2 weeks later, he came back with shoes on. And his wife. But she was the slick one, like the wives usually are. Always are. The wife came and said, tell him how you feel. I said, well, I said, ma'am, Flora doesn't have to tell me how he feels because she has shoes on. She said, yes, I feel good. You're right. Tell the man the rest. He said, well, I'm having sex now. You know, it's been 40 years, but I'm having sex now. I said, okay. So, did I give him something for sex? Is there any medicine in the world that stands for gout? Is there any herbs in the world that says this is for gout? So what the herb did, as it cleansed the acid from his stove, it cleansed the acid from his prostate gland that was preventing him from having sex. Is that so difficult?